Now then YouTube, welcome to another video. It's dyno day. We've got 5 different air intake setups to test for the MR2. We're going to find out, hopefully, that my car's a little bit down on power with the one that I made, expertly made. And yeah, we're going to test a couple of different air filter setups. We've got the standard airbox, we've got another standard airbox. You see that mess behind me from this man who's been very nice, sub to my Patreon, and has also sent me an airbox because he breaks MR2. So yeah, what a nice man, Andy at J-Spec. A nice man or a clever businessman. Either way, it's worked out for me. So we've got a standard airbox to test. We've got the modified airbox. We've got a ram air filter. And we've got some pipe work and stuff to try out. We need to try and find out why my car's a little bit down on power. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm not going to waste too much time with the intro or anything. I'm not doing too much vlogging when we get there. I might do the odd snippet in between changing air filters and stuff like that. But yeah, what's going to probably happen is I'll do a conclusion at the end, let you know what the differences were, which one worked out best, and hopefully have some good news that we found some power just by changing the air intake setup. That would be absolutely perfect. I've got the big camera with me to get some videos of the dyno. It might blow up, good content. Always good content if something blows up. But yeah, I'm really excited for today. Been looking forward to this for a while. So let's go and get the MR2 on the dyno and see what happens. Find some power, please. Hopefully. Right, well, she's strapped down. Obviously dynos are very noisy by nature, but just getting up to temperature now. I'm going to start testing to get a baseline on what that hopefully horrible air filter is actually reading. So I'm going to set up the big camera in a second anyway, so we can start trying to record. There's a couple of other cool cars here as well, which I'll try and show you. There's a K24 turbo Accord in progress, and there's 3 Civic EGs, which are all kind of drag cars by the looks of it, or you know, super fast cars for sure. But yeah, as I say, dynos, they're noisy. We're not just going to be able to hear the engine roar, but I'll set my camera up anyway so we can have a look. But obviously the most important thing about today is going to be on that monitor there, which is the data. What data are we going to get from this? Hopefully some good news. So we've just done the first test with the air filter that I was on originally, that I raced on. Put the standard airbox on now. I won't ruin the surprise too much, but it definitely made more power than what I thought it would. But that could be irrelevant because it all depends on what it compares against to this one. So it made decent power, let's say, but let's find out what this one does. So what's happening now is car had a misfire and the lads are just sucking water out of cylinder 3. So more on that later, but hopefully this sorts the misfire. Fucking Toyotas, man. Del problemos, por favor. Not please actually, no, but this is the plug from cylinder 3. Less than ideal. Right, well, we've done most of the runs now. Very interesting numbers. I'll talk about that a bit more later, but just about to test the Ram Air one, and the position of it's definitely less than ideal, but we'll see what it does. Right, well, we're all done, and I'll let you know how it went in a second. But before we leave HSP, we just have a quick nose at some of the cars we've got here, because you've probably seen them in the background and that, and I know you won't like it if I left without showing you some turbo Hondas. So there's quite a lot laying around. Some fancy work going on in here. I'll go for a zoom. Another blue turbo Accord K24. There's another EG in there. We won't get too far in their faces because I think this is part of it, but you know, let's not stick cameras in people's faces. These lads have just come up from somewhere down south to get this DC5 map. They're after me, so sorry for making you wait. So obviously here they've got the dyno and that, and they're just doing a tune. Now in this secret room there is a special car which I wanted to show you before I left, because yeah, I really quite liked it when they were showing me around earlier. So obviously it's a Civic EK in a really dark grey colour. Obviously we've got SE37Ks front and rear, quite a bit of stagger on the go. Real nice wing, kind of mated into it properly. I don't know what this is, it might be an off-the-shelf thing, but it was quite nice how it's blanked off the factory spoiler mount, and then it's got a proper wing on there. You've got tyre shine on. Oh, it's a 205 that, 205, and then on the front not much clearance for the 225, so that's interesting. But I spy a wheel spacer, but we've also got massive stop tech brakes. So the big question is, why have we got massive brakes? What have we got under here? Well, obviously a lot of you will be very happy to see we've got a B series turbo, nonetheless. Some fancy coil packs on there, no distributor to worry about. Yeah, B series, nice that, isn't it? Now these boys are pretty famous for the drag racing cars. As you can see, look at the fucking intake there. I'm pretty sure that's a Civic front bumper. It might be, might not be, but you know, they've had a few real fast Civics and stuff. But yeah, I just thought I'd put the camera around just before I left. This is a bit of interlude until I let you know the story of the MR2. But yeah, this is real nice, isn't it? Hybrid racing shifter too on the B series. Some nice seats on the go. Yeah, it's real nice this. Right, anyway, so that's all from the time at HSP. Let's get back to the unit. Let me tell you the story of the MR2, why it was misfiring, why did it have water in cylinder 3. Blah. Right, well I've just got back and we need a conclusion. Interesting day for sure. Thanks to the lads at HSP for being welcoming and understanding of the situation, let's say. We did quite a few runs, we've got 16 of them logged, so obviously I don't have that data on me now, so I'm just going to try and remember how it went. I'm pretty sure I've got a good idea of how it went. But the first thing I want to cover is the JDM ECU, the MRS ECU. Now we noticed barely any difference with this, to be honest. There was the odd little, you know, whisper, but it looked like, based on what we could see, this is exactly the same fuel mapping. And it has got V-power in the car as well, so, you know, there's a bit of a theory online that maybe because Japan gets better quality fuel, the mapping might be better or something, but no, noticed absolutely no difference really, so we can discount that. It makes it a bit more difficult to get data from the ECU when you run this, so things like my overlay for my videos that I'm racing for the RPM, and even just getting the OBD connection to talk to the car to read codes takes some effort with this. It's not just native, so we'll discount that. Thanks again to EMS for letting me borrow it. So like I said, we did a fair few runs. We've got 16 of them logged. So bottom line is, what's the best setup? Well, it's definitely the standard airbox. It just works well. There's definitely potential for something else could work better, but not right now. We tried most of the things that I wanted to try and rule out. One of the big surprises of the day, to be honest, there were a few surprises, but one of them, I remember me saying that I'd got this 70mm outer diameter, 66mm internal diameter MAF adapter made, yeah? And Dan thankfully welded this for me at lastminute.com, got it all sorted. The car with this on, regardless of what air filter on, with this on, would run about 20 brake horsepower down on what any of the other systems would do, just because of that. And we think it's because the MAF was sat too high with this on. Just comparing it against the standard stuff. So it doesn't look it when you're just looking at it, but if you compare it next to a standard one, the MAF definitely needs to be lower. So I bet a lot of you are interested to know how it actually ran with what I had. Well, if we're talking pub figures, and we're talking about absolute peak power, then this won. This filter with all the weebly wobbly pipes up there behind where the battery used to be made the most peak power of the day. It was on one of the first runs, 148 brake horsepower it made. Now, although it made the most peak power, the standard airbox peak power was just a little bit less. I don't have the charts, obviously. I can maybe put it on screen now. By the time I'm editing this, I should have everything. But the standard airbox made a little bit less peak, only marginally less right at the top of the rev range. But mid-range, this thing, garbage. Absolute garbage, which kind of explains why some of the corner exits and climbing up the mountain at Cadwell explains why my car felt so sluggish up there. I think at best I was about 10 or 12 brake horsepower less with this thing in the mid-range than what I had with the standard airbox, which is a massive difference, and obviously a big chunk of torque as well goes with that. So the standard airbox with the mod, with the wall removed, performed best. With the wall in, we tested it as well, and it was slightly less, not really much, but definitely with the wall removed, performed the best. So I was really surprised that this made decent power, but the AFRs, the air-fuel ratio, with this on, and this is all due to the MAF housing adapters that I've got, the AFR was so lean. It was unsafe lean. Like if you tuned a car, or if you were tuning this car and you saw the AFRs coming out of what they were, then garbage. And that could explain why when it gets hot, it could explain why it doesn't feel so fast. Maybe. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying that this original airbox is the best. I don't think that's fair to say. I didn't really have enough time to test other things. Obviously, the car started misfiring, that cost quite a lot of time. But it's going to take a lot more effort to try and get something performing just as good as this, which is kind of something that I already knew, and it would have been nice to have a bit more time to play with some other things, but I'm really surprised at this. I'm really surprised at this MAF adapter, which is the same size as stock, just didn't perform at all. You could hear it as soon as it started up. It just sounded like, it almost like a different car. It was so strange. I'll stick a MAF in here just to show you. So this MAF housing adapter, 20 brake horsepower down, and the car was running ridiculously lean. See how I can easily get my finger underneath? And I can wiggle it up and down, yeah? Standard airbox. I can only just get my finger underneath it. Right, that's the best representation I can give you of what we've got now, but it's millimeters difference, but this being just a bit lower in the factory position allowed the car to perform as expected. This one being just a couple of mil higher up, nae good. That's nae good. So crazy what a couple of millimeters can do to these super sensitive MAFs, right? Crazy. So what that meant was I wasn't really able to give this Ram air filter a good test. We did try it with the 3D printed MAF adapter, and from memory it didn't run very well at all. Which run was that? So these are the ones that have been written off with MAF issues. Like I say, we were getting towards the end. It was starting to get a bit close. Well, the other customer did have to wait about half an hour, so apologies, sir, for that. But yeah, it didn't even run any good with this, which doesn't make a heap of sense, does it? You bastards. So bottom line then, there's definitely more to do here. There's definitely, you know, I'd definitely like to revisit it and play with that MAF and try and get the MAF kind of spot on to see how we can get some more performance out of it. But for now, there's absolutely no point messing about too much. I might just get a panel filter for that, for example, but yeah, the standard airbox runs just fine, so we'll keep it like that. So yeah, super interesting day. Definitely didn't get that 10 or 15% increase on the peak side of things, but if you look at the middle of the rev range, if you look at the rev range all the way through, then I kind of did get that 10 or 15% performance increase with the standard airbox. Yeah, we've kind of backpedaled, gone back to Toyota because of these stupid fucking shitty maths. It is what it is. We've got to run the math, so not a lot we can do about that. But yeah, that's the solution. I'm just going to secure this airbox a little bit better because it's just in temporary at the minute, and then I'm going to check the alignment on it. But I think we've seen enough of MR2s for today, so I hope you've enjoyed watching anyway. It's been a very interesting day. One thing worth noting as well is I said that the AFRs are terrible with the mushroom filter on because of the MAF housing adapter, right? AFRs, obviously with the standard stuff, AFRs are a lot better, so the engine should really enjoy having this air filter or this air intake set up on. It should be a lot happier in the race, so fingers crossed. And we know the engine's healthy-ish because it's making not too bad power, so yeah, starting to run out of excuses now, but we'll get there, I'm sure. Right, that's enough for now then, so I hope you've enjoyed watching. Certainly been enlightened in, but we're back to the standard airbox, which it never actually had, so maybe we will notice a big improvement next time we're on track. Who knows? Oh, I guess before we go, you want to hear about the Misfire, right? It had water in cylinder 3, so there must be a drip somewhere in the barn, and it's running down here. And yeah, we had a misfire on cylinder 3, the coil was soaking, the plug was minging. Just, what the fuck, perfect. So unfortunately we lost about half an hour of dyno time by pissing about with that. So yeah, I mean, you know, my fault. I should have a plug cover on it really. I've got one somewhere I can stick on it. I need to cover it. If you've got an MR2 and you've taken that off, make sure you cover this area, otherwise, I mean, we saw it at EMS, we saw it at EMS, that exact thing, so yeah, bit of self-harm there really, I guess, but yeah, that's enough for today then. We've had a good time with the MR2, she's performing a lot better now with the standard airbox, so, and of course we've got that ducting out into the wheel arch area. I'll probably take this off and just undo that bit of ducting that's there, trying to make sure that this is actually getting the cold air it needs. And yeah, hopefully it'll perform well in the race next weekend. So if I don't see you before then, Donington, next Sunday I'll be racing. So hopefully she goes all right, but I guess we'll find out. Bye. Bye for now. Right, bonus content. I've perfected this now. With the help of Josh and a couple of cable ties, just 1 or 2 cable ties, this is legit. So reuse some of the stuff from the HKS mushroom thing. 1 or 2 cable ties straight in to the airbox. And of course this is the side vent. Yeah, this is going to be legit. Yeah, it's just going to be skits, boy. Has it ripped it? Oh no, I need this. This is my dyno results, man. Oh, we're all good. Yeah, successful day I think all in. Should breathe a lot better now, so see you next time.